Should be live. And we're live. Welcome to Vote Yes for Gillette College Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us tonight and look forward to your questions. Please use the chat box to ask any questions. My name's Dr. Olin Odikoven. I am President and CEO of Peregrine Global Services here in Gillette. And joining me once again, Dr. Mark Englert, former Vice President of Gillette College, and with us tonight to talk a little bit about why is Gillette College, why should you support? Why do people support Gillette College? Um, Go ahead, Cassie, advance the next slide here. And as you can see if you go to the Vote Yes for Gillette College website, you'll see a lot of people listed that have donated and offered their support for the campaign and understand. But it always, to me, as a researcher, begs the question: why do people support things? Well, tonight what I thought we would do is kind of break this down a little bit and take a look at why do people support the college. And let's take a look at it from perhaps an economic perspective to see and understand, what some of the value that Gillette College brings, and more specifically, why an independent Gillette College would be an enhancement to the quality of their life and work and et cetera. So let's take a look at that. There we go. So, why is a locally controlled community college important to agriculture? Many agriculturalists here in Campbell County have come out and support this. Why would they care?
Sure, that's a great question, great topic. I think going back just a bit to the people who are supporting the effort,
Mhm.
I think one of the interesting things is the breadth of support we have, which is important because when we start looking at the different sectors that we'll talk about tonight, that kind of comes across in that. And clearly the ag community lends their support. One of the things that we've told people in our conversations with them is our community really has its roots with the agricultural industry. And they're the ones who brought retail to us and started to grow the community so it was much more vibrant. They could bring their families here and you'd have education that would lead them. And I think that's important that we honor that heritage and preserve that legacy. And the thing that we have to do in programming with the college is create programs that support ag industries. And like many industries that we encounter today, they're ever changing. So there are a lot of things going on. The story I relate to folks right now is that we've tried so hard. In fact, we haven't had good ag programs at the college. Just because of the arrangement, the partnership that we've had. And we tried, I look back at some notes today, we've been trying since 2011, prior to my retirement, to introduce a reclamation program, which is a perfect marriage between agricultural programming and the mining sector, mining industries. And yet it just never worked out. And those are the types of things that we ought to see introduced, where we can satisfy an ag component and reclamation that would lend itself then to rangeland management. And then you start to introduce other things, ag econ, ag business, so that you can help our local ag industry diversify a little bit and plan for the future. And those are things that we really have to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, obviously all our producers know this, but every ranch is a business. We have a ranch up north, and it is an agribusiness. And in addition to the ranches being agribusinesses, we also have support businesses here locally. So agriculture is not just the producers out on the range, but it's those businesses that support agriculture. They need workers who understand the business dynamics. I think about the ag business program that I'd like to have for Gillette. Would really benefit both the retail dimension of agriculture as well as the producers. Yeah. Another segment where we see a lot of support for independent Gillette College is with the retail businesses here in Gillette. Why should retail businesses care about Gillette College? Why do they support it?
It goes back a little bit to your comment about ag, is it adding to their workforce, and retail needs that too. I mean, people always ask me at the college, what are your programs about? It's about workforce development.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you look across the board and whether an individual's coming in, taking one class, two classes, earning an associate degree, or transferring on and getting a baccalaureate or a higher degree, it's about where they enter the workforce
Mm-hmm.
and what they want to do. And retail obviously is important for a lot of reasons. I mean, we have a lot of people who earn associate degrees from us who go out into the world of work right here and stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a large
Mm-hmm.
part of that 84% who stay in Campbell County and work because they have a skill set and the tools to
Mm-hmm.
go and help a particular retail outlet, whatever the business may be, and that's hugely important. The other thing that we afford, I think, retail, and I talk like I'm still employed by the college,
Mm-hmm.
but forever Gillette
Oh,
College,
that's fine.
yeah, is that it's this lifelong learning
Mm-hmm.
connection too. So you can hire one of our graduates, and then to send them back to the college periodically for retraining
Mm-hmm.
or new skills or whatever. So I think that market is hugely important to us. We haven't touched much on the growth and expansion of our business programs, which we ought to see. Entrepreneurship
Mm-hmm.
should really take the forefront because, quite honestly, when you look at economies across the country, small businesses drive economies,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to get better at that in Campbell County.
And when it comes to retail businesses, we're not just talking about training workforces. We're not just talking about the sales clerk up there that
Right.
takes the money and runs the cash machine. There's a whole infrastructure around every retail business. You need bookkeeping, you need planning, you need marketing, you need obviously sales experience. These are the types of trainings and courses that these employees take at Gillette College, and they can bring them back in. And I love the concept about lifelong learning. Every business changes, so too does the workforce
Sure.
development needs change as we go along.
Yeah.
Well, another segment, very important to Campbell County, obviously, is the oil and gas industry. Started here many, many years ago and continues to be an important lifeblood of our community. And what we see with the vote yes for Gillette College is a lot of the oil and gas companies have come out in strong support of the vote and see the need. Why would they see the need for an independent Gillette College?
Another good question. It's oil and gas has unique needs
Mhm.
in their workforce, and actually, when you look at a lot of places, you'll need everything that we might offer in the tech center, from welders to electricians, industrial electricians, to CDL.
Oh, yeah.
Certified drivers. We used to have a very good CDL program, and that kind of went away. And then you look in the papers today at the demand or the need for CDL licensed drivers. So those are things that have to come back. And when you look even further, the influence that technology is having in a lot of those areas. So a lot of oil and gas companies monitoring wells from a laptop.
Mhm.
And the connections. So if you need to have network experts, you have to have IT experts in your business, and all of those types of all of those types of areas are really driven by community college education.
Mhm.
So it's important for us to have the ability to supply that workforce for oil and gas.
Right. So, oil and gas, critical to our economy, and the industry sees the college as critical to their success from a workforce innovation technology perspective. Well, another segment of our community, the construction companies, they build our houses, they build our buildings, our offices, out there paving the roads, doing the work on Lakeway and all that stuff, all local companies here. What kind of impact does the college have on their livelihood?
Huge impact. Not as much as we should have right now, because we've had this void. This really Campbell County was the epicenter of growth for a while. When you look across the state of Wyoming as far as construction, and we knew that there was this outcrying for quality labor, a well-prepared workforce, and yet we didn't have a construction management program here. Had one over in Sheridan on the other side of the district, but that's a program actually where you can be on the job and go into school if you work your schedule the right way. Well, you can't do it that way if you're 100 miles away from the job, and we just have to. I think, and and over time will introduce construction management, some of the trades, HVAC, those types of programs are hugely important for the contractors, small, medium, large contractors to utilize those skills. And we find too that they want a worker to come in prepared to go to work, not having to do a bunch of on-the-job training.
Right.
They'll do some because they'll have some specific needs. But if you can have a graduate enter their workforce with a skill set that will allow them to start working right away, then we're going to satisfy that industry.
Now, you've said a couple times tonight, Mark, you mentioned about it's a program that was in Sheridan, but we couldn't get it in Gillette, or we had it in Gillette for a while, but then it went away because it was taken back by Sheridan. My sense is what happens sometimes, and this I think is one of the reasons that led to the desire for independence, is we don't have a voice in that process. Those decisions made by Sheridan to either pull or push programs, we don't have a whole lot of say in that. So even though we may have the demand locally, if the Sheridan trustees decide they want to keep the program in Sheridan for very good reasons from their perspective, we just don't have that ability to, relatively quickly, as quick as you can in higher education, but to respond to the needs of the industry.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the beginning of the program tonight is, why be independent? Well, be independent so that we can make the decisions that serve our population, our county, and that's so much what it's about. And we understand why a district wouldn't necessarily want to duplicate programs across colleges, but when you don't do that to some essential programs, you limit access. And we've said from the get-go that community college education is about access for all. Understanding that most people, when they think of a college student, they think of a full-time college student.
Right.
That's not necessarily the case.
I think even in Gillette College, the majority of the people are not necessarily full-time students going to school, 12, 16 hours or whatever a semester. They're working adults, often going to class at night or intermittently weekends or whatever that looks like for them, because they're also working concurrently with that. And that's the beauty of Gillette College, is you can put the two together fairly easily, go to school and work at the same time because of the flexibility that the college affords.
Right, and that's so important. And that's actually why, we have to sit at the table with the construction companies and ask them what their needs are, because that's how you tailor a program to satisfy that. What are the times of the offerings? What's the sequence of courses? Can you do coursework that's intensive in the winter when there might be a slowdown in the industry? So all kinds of things that you can look at and serve our local companies.
Which ties right in when you talk about what's in it for coal mines. I remember, in fact, I think I helped you and did some advisory work when we were standing up that electrical program that was a partnership with the local mines to, what was it, it's an associate's in applied science with the electrical, so that we were feeding directly the needs of the mines. And that's just one area, but I remember when that program stood up, how important that was for the mines and what we did there.
It is, the industrial electricity program was a great start for Gillette College, and a great example of how you work with industry to satisfy demand that they have and get students in a pipeline to earn a credential that gets them a well-paying job out in industry. And it's a job that you can apply in other industries too, so it works across the board. This happens to be one that we worked with the coal mines to create, and it satisfies, again, their need, because there's great demand for industrial electricians at coal mines. When you go out there and you look at all the electricity that's going on in the I call them extension cords, they're about that big around. It's incredible. Well, those are the types of things that they want. And we talked about industries changing. Well, the way they mine coal has changed as well. So we have to adapt how our diesel technology programs have worked. So a lot of things now are diesel over electric. And our students have to have an understanding of all that to go out there and serve as mechanics on site. So there's so many things that we've been able to do with really good partners in the mining industry to create programs that create a skill set and a labor force that I always call them technically savvy blue-collar workers.
Mhm. And the beauty of the independence of Gillette College, when you get a situation where a mind or the minds together say, hey, we need this skill set, is that they can come to Gillette College, work in partnership, design a program together, meet the academic requirements, and crank it out. I was amazed a few years ago when we did this with the electrical program, how relatively quickly we were able to respond to the mind's
Sure.
needs and get those people in the program, get them graduates. A good friend of mine just graduated from that program last year. He's got a nice paying job at the
Yeah.
mine, but he did it while he was working,
Yeah.
and so he was able to advance. And that's another thing, putting on my HR hat, you always got to develop your trained workforce. You're going to pay for it one way or another, but you've got to do it. Having the college local means that actually it's a cost savings for the mines when it comes to workforce development.
Right.
They
Right.
don't have to send them out of state or lose them for that continuing
Yeah.
ed.
When you think of the challenges that we have now, so you grow your own, you educate your own locally,
Mhm.
or you're going out recruiting.
Yeah.
And if you look at the housing market today, it's tough to
Yeah.
get people to come and move in. You're going to have to build new homes. So it's all a
Yeah.
kind of a vicious
It's always
cycle.
better if you can grow your
Yeah,
own. It's going to be
absolutely.
more
Yeah.
affordable, more effective,
Yeah.
more efficient in the long run. Healthcare, big program at Gillette College. I mean, and I know it's just embedded with the hospital up
Yeah.
here. I mean, they rely on this for nursing. But another great success story, the healthcare industry is very much integral with Gillette College and sees that opportunity with independence.
It is, and the hospital has been an awesome partner for
Mhm.
years and years. Uh, One, because they had this huge demand for well-prepared nurses,
Mm-hmm.
and the college has the best nursing program in the state of Wyoming. So, I think that it's a perfect relationship right there, where again the hospital says we have this demand. Can you meet this demand? Nursing is an interesting one because
Mhm.
they have not only the institutional umbrella accreditation, they have their own accreditation as well. So it's a pretty rigorous review. Their curriculum has to fit, and you produce good nurses. Well, when you look at the hospital, many of our graduates, I don't know the percentage, but a large number of the nurses
I
at the
heard something,
hospital.
almost close to 80% of the
Yeah.
graduates of Gillette College end up working for Campbell County Health.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Or one of the other
Yeah.
industries that supports that.
Yeah. The challenge that the college has, and again, and why independent college is much more suited to respond, is we have only so many spaces in the nursing program,
Mhm.
and we have about 100 applicants that don't make it in on an annual basis.
And it's not because they're not qualified, it's
Yeah,
just because there's just not enough seats.
not enough seats. So there will be an opportunity to expand a nursing program in time. We all understand that takes resources and clinical sites and those types of things. But at least we can decide to do it incrementally, however it fits into the
Mhm.
budget and what the trustees may choose. The other thing we can do, and this is one of the things that I just continued to stress during my time uh, at the college, was look at other health career related fields. And right
Mhm.
now we just don't have that. And there are some really good opportunities for
Right.
students there.
Coding being a big area.
Oh, yes.
I remember a few years ago, you remember, Mark, when we were, 2017, 2018, when we worked on the marketing study. And expanding healthcare was the number one driver. Healthcare, agribusiness, business, finance were some of the key programs to expand and grow
Yes.
that met the market needs for the next 10 years for not just Campbell County, but just even here in Northeast Wyoming.
Going back to that too, and what a lot of people don't understand is those are programs that if we have individuals who earn an associate
Mhm.
degree, they're going to go get a good job. They don't have to necessarily earn a bachelor's degree. You
Mhm.
can choose that route if you want to, but more often than not, you're not going to
Yeah.
get that bachelor's degree.
I mean, but the Wyoming legislature allowed for community colleges to offer that 4-year bachelor's degree in applied sciences. And I know that's out there are ways for Gillette College. It'd have to get through its accreditation first and then take a look at that. The Board of Trustees will need to take a look at that. But there's a future opportunity to even be
yeah.
more responsive to community with such a program.
Right, I think that's a great opportunity when you look at management and leadership issues that are going to arise over the
Mhm.
next decade or two. And a Bachelor of Applied Science gets people in that leadership track.
Right. and they can finish their degree without having to travel or deal with some of the other hassles
Right.
of long distance education.
Right.
Which leads right in then to service industries, and obviously Campbell County here, we're blessed with a lot of service industries, support the major industries here. And they too have come out in droves in support of an independent Gillette College. They must see some value here of an independent Gillette College for their particular sector. What kind of features, capabilities, why would it be important to them?
I think before we got started, you used the terms labor, labor, labor.
Labor, labor, labor.
And it is. I mean, if anybody in a service sector, a service industry, has to have a labor pool to
Mhm.
draw from. And again, it's a diversity of needs, of skills that we require. And if you have a community college in your town that is producing graduates or completers, whether it be certificate or associate degrees, you have a captive audience, quite
Mhm.
honestly, where you can come in and have career fairs and business fairs and interview
Mhm.
students right on campus. And I think our service industries, you have, for example, here at Peregrine, have capitalized on Gillette College's graduates
Mhm.
to
And,
support your
and, and
workforce.
initially, as interns,
Right.
using them while they were going to school, we could kind of test drive them, make sure they're going to work out for us, and they've worked out wonderfully. We had 2 interns that are now permanent employees. We've hired another Gillette College graduate here to be an employee. So growing them internally, and I like the ability. I had the meeting here just a couple months ago, the Business Advisory Board,
Mhm.
and where we sat down and we talked about, okay, what do we need here for the next year? And again, I said interns, 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 and these are paid internships. And I told them right away, I'll take 2 this fall, one an accounting intern and a technology intern, and consider them if they're good. I'll hire them starting September, and they can get paid, go to school, and we need them.
Yeah.
And many other businesses could really benefit from that internship program.
Right.
It's a great way to get trained people, and you grow them and keep them.
It's a great example, and I appreciate you and the fact that you create paid internships.
Yeah.
Because as we said earlier, many of the students are part-time. They're out working,
Mhm.
paying bills and going to school at the same time. If they can get an internship that's a paid internship, then they're in their career track.
Yeah. So they're here at
Yeah.
Peregrine, they're working for us, they're getting usually 3 credits for that class.
Yeah.
I know I have to do kind of a report at the end of the semester so they can get their 3 credits.
Right.
Yeah, but we pay them, regular part-time salary while they're here and
Yeah.
doing us work, and we get to grow them. And it's a difficult business in many service industries. You've got to grow that talent for a while before
Right.
they really launch them.
Right.
Yep. Finally here, just overall our economy, organizations like are coming out in support of an independent Gillette College because they see the value in totality. We've been talking about individual sectors tonight, but when you put it all together, this says to our economy.
Yeah, I think one of the figures we use is that we contribute back about $65 million annually to our
Mhm.
economy, making us one of the drivers. Again, we referred to it earlier. I mean, any strong economy needs a well-prepared workforce. And you either have to bring them in, or you have your local community college making local decisions, utilizing their locally elected board of trustees to have the programs that are relevant.
Mhm.
And that is so important. So, some people get upset when we talk about economic development and the college's relationship. Well, no, that's exactly what we do. We stimulate
Right.
economic growth, and we stimulate a workforce, and stimulate thought so that we continue to evolve as a strong economy. I think that's an important role that we play. And educators, the faculty are current in their field and
Mhm.
providing adequate training and education. The leadership of the college is connecting with our partners, understanding what the next need is going to be, so
Mhm.
that you can go back in and create new opportunity. And I think that's so important for not only the economy, but diversifying the economy. And the other thing that a lot of people miss is that the college is consumers. They're consumers
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
So our students go down to the retail and buy.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just,
you see them at the restaurants.
yeah,
You see them
exactly.
at the rec center. They're out
Yeah,
contributing to the economy. That's part of the economic value that the students
right,
bring to the community.
right,
And if the students local at Campbell County graduates from Wright or Gillette, if they can stay local, they're keeping their money local. It's stimulating and contributing. It's stimulating, contributing to the local economy. But if they have to go out of the community, well, there's dollars that are leaving
right,
as a consequence.
right.
Not only dollars leaving, but we talk about the brain drain.
That's right.
And a locally independent Gillette College helps maintain the intellectual
Yeah.
capital of the community as well as the financial capital
Sure.
of the community. Well, again, if you have any questions for us, please put them into the chat. We'd love to hear your questions and respond accordingly here. But as we've walked through the different sectors tonight, most important thing, though, I think our message is get out and vote. Early voting is going on right now. You can go to the Campbell County Courthouse, go in the main doors. It's right to your left, if I remember right. You can see the election sign there. You can
Yeah.
go do early voting now all the way up to the day, August 17th, will be the vote. So please get out and vote. So critical on this issue. And independent Gillette College means so much to our community. And somebody said the other day, is this, probably one of the most important votes that Campbell County has probably had in decades.
Oh,
And when you really look at it from a strategic perspective, the implications of an independent Gillette College on the strategic health of the community. My family goes back 3 generations when my grandfather homesteaded up north of Campbell County, and I think of my folks, growing here on the ranch and stuff. I want to see that for the next 2 or 3 generations,
Right.
and an independent Gillette College will mean that for our community.
that is, it really is an important vote, and I think it's important too that our viewers realize that when we talk about all those sectors, we visited with all of them.
Oh, yes.
We've
Yeah.
done our due diligence. We're not, and they've come out and support us. I think that's important. That
Yeah. That's why you see their logos on the slides. They
Yeah.
have said, yes,
Yeah.
this is important for us as a business. They recognize it for their employees, for
Right.
their community. And next week, next Tuesday, we're going to do another Facebook Live event. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about the value that a community college really brings to the community. We'll talk about quality of life, employee retention and recruiting. We'll explore these and
Excellent.
other issues here next Tuesday. So join us 7 p.m. a week from yesterday. So next Tuesday for that. But clearly, get out and vote. Every vote matters. And if you have questions, where can they go, Mark?
They can go to the website voteyesforgillettecollege.com.
Yeah,
Look at that.
I just so much there, especially under the frequently asked questions.
Yes.
That the group has done a great job of trying to. They've visited with so many of these sectors and answered questions. And every time there's a question, think it through, develop a response, and then it's posted there, so it's able to share. You can also go on Facebook here. Obviously, here you'll find a lot of good information on Facebook, on Twitter.
Email me.
Email Mark there.
Mark
You can
at
see his
Vote
address.
Yes for Gillette College.
And away you go. Are you a Twitterer?
I have a Twitter account, but I am not a real good Twitterer.
Somebody will answer your Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not going to be me or Mark, because I think we Twitter, probably they're all laughing right now. I think it's
Yeah.
called tweeting. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily my forte. But join us again next Tuesday night for another Facebook Live session where we'll talk about the value of a community college and continue this dialogue. And again, please vote. If you haven't voted already, you can go vote during business hours, 8 to 5 up at the courthouse. And don't forget, August 17th is the day, and every vote counts. Thank you.